How I turned my life around, from barely making it to financial freedom. 4 years ago, I found myself completely lost. I felt stuck, sad, angry, depressed, and burdened with debts. The money that I was making, more than half of it would go to repay the debts. I wasn't making much to begin with, so the little that was left couldn't barely cover the basic. I had to borrow the next paycheck to cover the basic needs, therefore falling deeper and deeper into debts. I found myself to a point where I couldn't borrow anymore. The little that was left couldn't cover any more credit. Basically put, I had reached to a point where my paycheck couldn't cover any extra debt. I found myself one afternoon, seated at a corner of my bedroom. I had left work early that day, for I felt that I couldn't breathe in my workplace. I felt being there was suffocating me. My mind was racing to different direction. I remember vividly feeling like I was drowning. Something beyond me was pushing me to different sides. I felt like I had no grip nor control of what I was feeling and thinking. I couldn't concentrate in my work, so I took a half day. It turns out I looked the same way I felt. My boss looked at me once and did not argue about me leaving. She just said, "You can go and take care of whatever you need to and be early tomorrow." At my house, it wasn't different either. You take your feelings and thoughts with you. I couldn't sit still, nor couldn't I sleep. For the first time, I forced myself to examine my life. Really think about my life and my choices. I was operating on autopilot, never really taking time to think about my life seriously, nor how my choices would affect me in the long run. I had a job. It is a government job with benefits and security. Or so I thought. They said go to school, get good grades, get a job, and if you can get a government job, you are sorted. You get a good salary and better working hours. You qualify for loans and get retirement benefits. What else is there to worry about? But why am I then sitting here, with no savings, no investments, no life goals, and nothing to show forth? Only failures and disappointments. I wondered. Before that day, when I felt those feelings, I would quiet them with alcohol and watching movies. But that time, I was too broke to afford alcohol. It turns out, you have to have money to be alcoholic. How funny and ironic is that? I felt fear like I never felt before. I began to wonder how I would survive. How would I pay rent, buy food, pay for electricity and water, etc.? I couldn't think of anyone that would lend me money, and even if I could get someone, how would I pay it back? The thought of realizing that I had put myself in that condition was the most painful realization of them all. I had drove myself to financial ruin through excessive borrowing and living beyond my means. I had no one to blame but myself. That night, I couldn't sleep either. So I gave up the tossing and turning and went to my living room and sat on the sofa. I began thinking of ways to make money and make money fast, so I could get out of the hole that I had put myself in. During that time, I had began watching motivational videos. I had slowly realized that I needed a change. I needed to change my thinking and my way of doing things. I had found this quote that later would change how I viewed money and life in general. And it says, "You cannot create solutions with the same mindset that created the problem." So, from that day, I began consuming financial education that I could find, seeking to find a magic formula that would turn my life around overnight. I would watch motivational video about someone who had nothing and built an empire and would say to myself, "It's so good that you were able to do that, but me, I can't. I just need a quick solution that can fix my situation right now. I don't have time to work on a business for months or years to be successful. I just want to be successful now." And guess what I would do? Move to the next video. In 2021, I had began investing some little money. Though I was struggling financially and could not barely put any money aside, I had promised myself that I would commit to setting a small amount of money aside every month and put it in an investment plan. Before buying food or paying any bill, I would put $30 into an investment plan and be left figuring out how to pay for the rest. And for the first time, I began to feel alive again. I didn't know how I would make the payments, but I was committed to honoring that promise. However, the whole of 2021 and 2022 was a roller coaster for me. I would consume motivation, feel motivated for 5 minutes, then go back to my reality, which was barely making it and struggling to make ends meet. Feeling afraid all the time and looking desperately for a way out. In 2022, my credit line improved a little. I borrowed some more money to start a business. The business, however, did not take off. I knew very little about the business. I just knew that everyone was doing it and many people were making money from it. And me, I didn't make even a single cent. And I fell back to struggling, with a new debt and no hope for freedom. The experience, however, taught me lessons that I will discuss later that would accelerate my growth. All this time, even after facing a failure, I was committed to learning about money. I had realized making money, investing money successfully and keeping it was a skill. I recognized I had none to zero skill set when it came to money. So I began looking for people that would mentor me and help guide me in the right direction. How fortunate I felt when I became acquainted with a guy that seemed to have figured out money. I met him through a friend of mine. Though from the word go, I felt he was closed off. I was determined to get close to him and learn how he was able to become successful at a young age. I had seen several people online interviewing successful people, and how those successful people were so forthcoming with information and helpful tips on how to make money and about their journey and struggles to financial freedom. And thought to myself, why not ask this guy some information? He might have some useful tips for me, considering he was closer to my age. And also, it's someone that I know of, not someone I'm reading about online. Also, he might hook me up with some opportunities and possibly work together in some future projects when he saw I was ambitious too, ready to do anything to be successful, including the uncomfortable. I wrote down a few questions that I thought of asking him and sent it to him through WhatsApp and waited for the magic formula to make money. 2 days later, he replied. He gave me one of the most vague answers I have ever come across. What a disappointment it was. Among all the people I knew and hanged with, he was the only one who seemed to have made it. All my friends were in the same similar situation as I was, and some even a worse state than I was. I had felt hopeful that I had met a person who could teach me something, or better yet inspire me. And here he was, clearly showing no interest in being of help to me, whether in information or opportunities. And once again I learned another lesson. In 2023, I began finding money-making opportunities. I would make money and somehow spend all of it. It didn't matter the amount I had earned, it would find its way to leave as quickly as it came in, and I would go back to being broke again. It wasn't until I lost the gig that I realized something that completely changed my life. My dominant thinking and way of life was, not enough, life is so hard. Getting money, you had to struggle. Our thinking shapes our reality. What you think about and focus on grows. So, no matter how much money I made, it found its way to leave. So I could go back to the frequency of lack and not enough. My thermostat was set in not enough, so even if I got more money than before, I would lose it to go back to where the thermostat was set by default, being I never had enough and life was hard. What an aha moment it was for me to finally figure out that Wealth is a mindset. That a person could work in several jobs, work for several hours a day, but still struggle and live in lack. In order to make money and be successful, first you need to fix the mind. It's 90% how you think and 10% what you do. What a revelation it was for me. All along, I was looking to fix the outside, while the inside is the controller. That's why you find two people start the same type of business, one succeed in it and the other struggling to keep afloat. It's their mindset and their beliefs. It's what they are thinking and focusing on all day. That's why books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and The Millionaire Mindset is so instrumental in changing your thinking. It's not by doing only, it also by thinking right. Once all this clicked for me, I experienced a complete turnaround. Money now seemed to look for ways to come to me, in short term and in long term. I have so many money-making opportunities. From a person who was barely making it, to a person whose money is flowing easily, freely and constantly. Sometimes I look at my life now, and I can't believe that this is my life. I click on my account to believe that I have savings. I have investments that is worth a small fortune, and all this came from changing my mindset. I don't know who you are and what you might be going through. You might be where I was 4 years ago, bloke, heavily burdened by debt, sad, depressed and feeling lost. But what I can assure you is that that state is temporary. It doesn't matter whether you have been in it for years and years, and you feel like you can never get out. I am a testimony that life can change. You can move from barely making it to financial freedom. But this journey will take everything that you have and know to be true. Meaning, you will have to give up who you think you are and what you think you can achieve and deserve. You will have to give up your old thinking and beliefs that are keeping you poor, stuck and depressed. In order to achieve what you never had, you will have to become what you never been. It wasn't until I gave up the old thinking that I was able to embrace my current reality. These are the lessons that I have learned along the way, that I hope will accelerate your growth and grant you financial freedom that you desire greatly. 1. Success is not overnight. The journey to become financially free is not achieved overnight. There is no magic formula that can make you rich overnight. Even if you gained massive money overnight like lottery winners, it doesn't guarantee financial freedom. There is a reason as to why the lottery winners lose all their money in a few years after winning. They gain the money, but not the knowledge. The knowledge to invest it wisely, on how to spend it and on what, how to save it and accumulate it. Money is a good servant but a terrible master. Therefore, it leaves quickly as it comes, because money needs to be mastered and be given clear direction. 2. The problem is not that you are earning little, but that you don't know how to manage your earnings. For years, I thought to myself, when I earn certain amount of money, I will then save and invest. That is needless to say, that day never came, until I made a commitment to myself that I would save and invest no matter what. It did not matter if I would start with $30. What mattered is, I was putting something aside for the future. And with that small achievement, it gave me hope for the future. Start saving what you can today, and be committed to saving that amount every month. $30 today is $300 in 10 months and thousands of dollars in a few years if it's put in investments. 3. Success requires sacrifice. If you are serious about being financially free, you will have to sacrifice your time, energy, money, and your comfort zone. You will have to put in work to grow your business, lead and learn about business, money, and mindset. You give your energy. Spend money to acquire knowledge, whether by hire coaches, buying supportive materials like books or courses, and sometime outsource talents that are needed to grow the business. You will have to give up your comfort zone. Doing the things that sometimes you don't want to do, like waking up early and going to sleep late. Give up leisure time and instead putting in work to grow, whether mentally, physically, or growing your business. The next level of your life will require a different you, in thinking and in doing. And this requires you to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. 4. Never invest in a business that you don't understand or know nothing about. It doesn't matter what the person pitching the business to you is promising that you will get in return. If you don't understand it, then you have no business in investing in it. Many people have lost money in business deals that promised quick returns and massive success. Others like me, we saw a business that was making money for others and thought it could do the same for us, only to lose our capital. Any business that you decide to start, do your due diligence first. Research as much as you can about the business. Don't be afraid to ask for advice from those that are operating the same kind of business, those that are where you want to be in life and in business, and make your own conclusion. A hot business or a hot deal that you think will make you money might be a fire that would burn your money. 5. Honor your journey. Your journey to financial freedom is unique. Where it took me 4 years to figure things out, another could take a few months or 10 years. It's not the destination that matters, but the person you become on the journey. The person that I am today is very different from the person I was 4 years ago, whether in thinking and in doing things. It's not the money that have changed my life, but the mindset that I acquired along the way. 6. Thinking that I knew everything. Only a fool thinks that they know everything. The smartest people recognizes that there is always something to learn and something to improve on. That's why they surround themselves with people they can learn from. Learning is a continuous process. You will never reach the pinnacle of learning. Our minds is ever expanding. How I thought last year is different from how I think today and will think in 10 years from now. We make choices and decisions based on the information that we have, and that affect how we show up as a person and what we think we can achieve. If the information and the beliefs that I have right now is telling me that I can become a multimillionaire, that is what I will strive to achieve and become. With time, if I think that I can become a billionaire and the information that I have in the mind is telling me that I can and it is possible for me, then I strive to become a billionaire. Your next level will require mind expansion to hold your new goals and achievements. The mind expands when you think differently and add new information, an upgrade of what you currently have. If you are in lack, being broke and depressed, it's about time that you check the information that you are operating on. Does the information that you have or are consuming helping you grow, or it making you feel fearful, sad, and desperate? A hungry mind is a hungry stomach. Feed the mind with the right information and the mind will feed you. 7. The people you hang around with determines your life outcomes. Let me put it this way. When I was struggling financially, guess what I heard constantly? Life is hard. You can't do anything financially without borrowing. Life is getting worse. Everyone is struggling. Rich people are bad and money is scarce. Guess what my reality was? The same. What you constantly hear, you began to think and see it as true. And what you think and believe as true will manifest as a reality in your life. If you believe life is hard and money is scarce, your mind begins to align for you all the reasons and situations to prove you right. You experience hardship not because you are unlucky, undeserving, or unable to create a good life for yourself, but because it what you are thinking and focusing. And we all know everything starts in the mind. Thoughts become things. Yesterday's thoughts is your reality tomorrow. Be careful who you give your ear to. That person can influence your ability to create financial freedom or remain stuck in poverty. 8. Beliefs. What you believe, you become. The Bible says it will be done unto you as you believe. If the belief that you have is not making you healthier, happier, and wealthier, then it's about time that you let it go. I don't care if you have had the belief for decades and it was your family that taught you. If it not serving you, then it's about time that you said your goodbyes. For a long time, I believed that wealth belongs to certain class of people. I don't know where I got the belief from, but I can remember I had it since I was young. That limiting belief and many more I found as I worked on myself had to leave my system. I programmed myself that wealth has no special criteria to attain it. Wealth is for everybody. I created this mantra within myself. The summit is for everyone who is willing to climb the mountain and does not quit halfway. And so is wealth. 9. Be willing to face your fears and take risks. For most of the time, when you are living in lack, fear is always the first response that comes to mind when you want to do something out of your comfort zone. I had to allow myself to feel the fear and do whatever I needed to do anyway. When my mind was screaming to me that it's risky to believe that I could have financial freedom, that I should not think and be ambitious, because I could fail and become worse, I decided staying the same was more risky. I would rather be learning how to climb, hanging on the ropes on the way to the summit, than staying on the ground going through the same hardship. Sometimes you will need to venture out of your comfort zone to achieve success. On the other side of fear there is freedom, but you will need to take the first step of faith. 10. The hardest experience in your life could be a blessing in disguise. When I lost the money, which I had borrowed in 2023, I felt like my world was crumbling down on me. I had managed to get a little bit of money to start a business, yet it was all gone. Looking back now, this lesson was teaching me never to give up. Even if one thing doesn't work out, it's not the end. There are many more opportunities coming my way. I needed to learn more about money. Learn that making money is a process and give up quick money mentality and instead put in work to build a sustainable flow of money. Believe in myself more and trust in my higher power that everything will work out fine and in own time. 11. Respect your money. See your money as your soldiers that you send out in the battlefield to get you more. Be careful how you spend it and don't just give away your money to someone, just because they have asked you for some. If the only time you hear from someone is when they are asking money from you, it's about time you rethink about that friendship. Pause on lending a helping hand and see how they treat you. This is a lesson I learned the hard way. You can give someone your all, be left with nothing, and still the person would say it's not enough, or it's their right to be given money by you. Giving is the highest form of humanity, but don't let it be a door to let someone take advantage of you. Respect your money by sending it to where it's valued and appreciated. To those sometimes may not say thank you to you because they don't know it came from you. Your money is valuable and it should not be the only connection that you have with someone. That's all I had for you today. I hope, my dear viewer, today's video has inspired you in some way and gave you some insight that you can use to create a financial freedom for yourself. If you found the video helpful, remember to give me a like, share this video to someone whom you think will benefit from the information, subscribe and comment down below of your takeaways, and see you on the next video.